Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm testing out another foundation, and this is the Tarte Babassu Foundcealer, and this isn't a new foundation but it's another foundation I'm testing out today, and I've seen this all over Tarte's Instagram page, also on their website. It's one of their best sellers and people apparently have been raving about this and saying how good it is. Now I did do the chat on Tarte's website and I did ask them what type of skin this is for, and they do say that it's for all skin types, and they also said that it's good for mature skin as well. Now my mum also purchased one of these. She has normal to dry skin and she also has mature skin as well because she is in her 50s, and I have super oily skin and I have acne prone skin, very sensitive, and as you can see I do have a lot of blemishes that are on my skin at the moment, and a lot of products do tend to break me out, so hopefully this one is going to be a good one for me to test today. So if you're new to my channel and you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and also make sure you hit the bell icon just so you're notified every time I upload a new video. So the shade that I picked up is 27S Light Medium Sand. Now this is a shade that I am in the Face Tape foundation, so I'm hoping that they're gonna be the same, but I do also have medium sand downstairs, so if this is too light then I can go ahead and try the medium sand. Now they do have 30 shades in the collection. They start from very fair all the way to very deep. The deepest skin tone that they have is 60H Mahogany, which is very deep skin with warm peach undertones. It also retails for £33 or $39 US, and you do get 30 millilitres or 1 fluid ounce. Now the thing that really intrigued me about this was the fact that it says that it's skincare and foundation, and I'm 28 now and I'm one of those people that really likes skincare in my foundations. If I'm wearing makeup I do like to have skincare in there as well, as with doing my other skincare routine. On the website it says it's the first ever vegan skincare foundation, all-in-one moisturiser, concealer and foundation, hydrates for 12 hours and helps skin appear plumper. Ultra nourishing Babassu gives skin a youthful glow. Medium customizable coverage, never cakey or dry, natural radiant finish for healthy looking skin. 100% saw an improvement in the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles after 10 days of use. 97% agree it's like makeup and skincare combined. Coverage is customizable, feels comfortable all day, easy to use on the go. It's also vegan, non-comedogenic so it won't clog your pores, dermatologist tested, clinically proven to hydrate skin, clinically shown to improve the appearance of skin's texture. So this seems like it's going to be a really good foundation to test out today. So it does say that it does hydrate the skin, so we'll see how it hydrates on my dry skin all around here, and we'll see if it makes me look oily during the day. I've only really seen positive reviews. There's been the odd negative review, but you know, we'll see how it goes and see how it applies. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and we'll test out the foundation and see how it goes. So I've zoomed in and we're ready to test out the foundation. Now I have already moisturised and primed my skin. So the primer that I use today is the Tarte Poreless Mattifying Primer. Now this I always put on areas where I'm oily, so on my forehead, then also on the sides of my nose I've put this on. I use this and I usually use the Collection Mattifying Primer as well. Those two, honestly, they're my favourites. So if you do have oily skin or if you have large pores, these are really great products for you to test out. So we're just going to take this out of the packaging and we'll see what it looks like. So already it's looking like it's probably going to match. So as you can see, my face and my neck are completely different colours. That's because I self-tan my body but I don't self-tan my face because it is super sensitive. Also another great thing about this is that you just twist the lid and it goes up like this. How fun is that? So on the website it does say that you can use your fingers to get a very sheer coverage. You can use a sponge for a light coverage and then also use a brush for medium coverage. Now I don't tend to use brushes a lot of the time. I tend to just go for the sponge just because it is so much easier to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see the coverage that I get with the brush first, and then I'm going to use the sponge and see if you get any more. So this is the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Skin Brush. So that is pretty much one pump and it is running down, but it's not really runny. It's like a medium consistency. Now the shade does look like it's going to match. I also like the fact that with this you can see how much product you have left because it goes up, which, you know, I prefer those with foundations because at least then you can see how much product that you have left. So I'm just basically going to dot this on one side of my face. We're going to see what the coverage is like. I'm not expecting it to cover up all of my redness, I'm not expecting it to cover up my blemishes, but I am expecting it to just sort of even out my skin tone a little bit. It doesn't feel really thin, it feels quite thick. So I'm just pressing this in, and this shade actually looks pretty good. I feel like it's going to be a little bit too light for me when I have a deeper self-tan or my self-tan develops a little bit more. It has a very pleasant scent. It does smell like skincare. I know that sometimes when foundations have fragrance they tend to be not the nicest scent and they do tend to break me out. So hopefully this is going to be good for my sensitive skin. This is what it looks like with one layer with the brush on this side. Now, I do like it. I feel like that it has really made my skin very even. I can still see a little bit of redness. I can also see my blemish right here peeking through. But to be honest, I'm not really too worried about that because, like I said, I like light medium coverage foundations. I don't really like the brush just because I always get streaks when it's not a very thick foundation. It has to be a thick foundation for me to use a brush for it to work really well. And I'm going to try and even out the foundation with a sponge just to see how it builds and see if it looks better as well. Now, I much prefer the sponge because straight away I'm not getting any streaks at all, and always my nose is like the most annoying part for me to get foundation on. I don't know why, it's just so awkward. So that looks so much better with using a sponge. It blends out so much nicer and it just looks really, really nice. Now I have a medium coverage. I don't feel like I would get medium from using a brush, but I know that a lot of people do like using brushes. I feel like that I'll probably get a better coverage with using a sponge. But it's looking a lot nicer now. It's looking a lot more like skin. It doesn't look cakey, but it doesn't look matte. It does remind me of the Flower Beauty foundation. That's what the consistency is looking like on my face. So I'm having a couple of issues around my nose. So I don't know if you can see that, but I always have issues with my nose anyway. You can see that around here. It's looking a little bit weird, and then also on there. But like I said, my nose is always the awkward place. And then on my cheek here, it's looking a little bit like it's breaking apart. So it looks like you're probably going to need to use less of the foundation if you do use a sponge. So I'm just going to go ahead and try on this side. And I literally only have the tiniest amount. I think this is probably less than half a pump on here. So now that I've done this side with a sponge, I actually think I get the same coverage on this side with a sponge than this side with using the brush and the sponge, and I actually used less product. So on this side I used just over 1.5 pumps. On this side I used just over 1 pump. So to me it looks like you get much better coverage with using a sponge. This is what I always go to anyway because I don't know, I just don't really like the brush. But this is what it's looking like. So you can still see that my blemish right here is peeking through, and you can also see the ones on my cheeks are peeking through. But to be honest, for a foundation that says it's medium coverage, I feel like it's done pretty good. It's evened out my skin tone as well. The thing is, it does not look very good on my pores. My pores are very, very accentuated. So it doesn't blur your pores at all. And I think because it is quite thin, it's looking a little bit streaky on my skin. And with the dry patches around my nose as well, it is starting to sink into those, so it is looking quite dry. So at the moment I think it's an okay foundation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and I'm going to come back and show you what the rest of my makeup looks like. So I've just finished off my makeup and this is what it looks like, and I am shocked at how beautiful this looks on the skin. It looks so stunning. The only places that it doesn't look the best is around my mouth, and that's because I am very, very dry. Like I said earlier on, I'm dry all around my mouth at the moment, so this is clinging to the dry patches. Now I haven't actually found a foundation that doesn't cling to the dry patches, but I'm hoping that this foundation is going to be good for it because it does say that it has hydration, 12-hour hydration. So I'm hoping it's going to hydrate those areas of my face. Most of my foundations are oil free, they're mattifying ones, and if you put mattifying foundations on dry patches, it doesn't look very good at all. So I'm hoping that this is going to be good for my skin. I'm hoping that it's not going to make me look oily, but the rest of my face just looks so beautiful. The rest of my products glided on so easily. I had absolutely no issues with cream, powder and liquid products, so all three of them just look so beautiful, blended out really nicely, didn't take any of the makeup off either. So it's currently 1:45 in the afternoon, but I did apply the foundation at 1 o'clock. That's when I started doing my makeup, so I am going to do it from 1 o'clock as the starting point, and I'm going to come back in a few hours. I'm going to give you an update, show you what it looks like in natural lighting, and I'll see you in a bit. So it's now 4:15 in the afternoon, so I've had this foundation on now for 3 hours, and so far it is still looking really nice. Obviously it is still looking quite dry around the sides of my mouth, but that's my own fault. I am having pretty dry skin around there at the moment, so you know, it's not anything that I would usually have. So it is clinging to the dry patches, so if you do have dry skin, then just keep that in mind. With my pores, I don't like it on my pores. I don't know if I'll need to use a different pore filling primer, but I will be testing this out again tomorrow, doing a full day wear test so you can see what it looks like using a different primer. But it's looking nice. It's not looking shiny. It has gone into my forehead lines as well, which is a little bit annoying. And then it's also gone into the lines underneath my eye. It doesn't feel tight, it doesn't feel drying, it doesn't look drying either. It has a nice little luminous look to it, so I am impressed with it. I did try to do the check-in outside, however it is so windy at the moment, but it is looking nice after 3 hours. I'm not looking oily, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this on throughout the entire day, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll do another day wear test and let you know how it goes. So it's day 2 of the 2-day wear test on this Babassu foundation, and we're going to go ahead and see how it goes using different primers and a slightly different moisturiser. So my skin still is quite dry around here, but it actually felt a lot more hydrated last night than it did the previous day, so I feel like it is working pretty good with the hydration. And the moisturiser I used was this one, which is a simple one, and it's a rich moisturiser. I just put this on all the areas where I'm super dry, which is around here, then also in between my eyebrows as well. The primer that I changed is the e.l.f. Poreless Pretty Primer, so I use the matte one everywhere that I get oily, and then I use the poreless one everywhere that I have pores and lines. So hopefully it's going to be a match made in heaven, because yesterday it did look quite big for my pores, especially around here, and then it settled into my fine lines and my wrinkles on my forehead at the end of the day. But I did have it on for 10 hours, and after 10 hours it didn't look too bad. So it did obviously come off on some sides of my face, so both right here and then also on my forehead. It didn't look oily at all, and that was a shock to me, because I thought I would look very, very oily, considering this is a hydrating foundation, and I do really feel like it works good on my oils. So I am pretty impressed with it. So we're going to put it to the test today and see how it goes with different moisturisers and different primers. So the moisturiser, I just put it on all the areas where I'm oily, and then I just use my normal Drink of H2O by Tarte moisturiser on the rest of my face. So we're going to try this with the beauty sponge, which is from Wet n Wild, and we're going to see how this applies. So I'm going to do, I think, 1.5 pumps, because yesterday we used quite a lot for the entire face, because I did use the brush on one side and then the sponge afterwards. So we'll see how it applies and see if it looks better than yesterday. And this is what my makeup is looking like, and again, it is really, really beautiful. My pores don't look accentuated with using these new primers, but it is still attaching to all of the dry areas of my skin. So right in between my eyebrows and also my chin, it's looking very cakey. It is going straight to the dryness on there, so it's not looking the best on there. However, I do feel like it goes very nicely with the rest of my products. I did use the same makeup products that I used yesterday, because I wanted to give it a fair test and see if it changes by using these primers and the new moisturiser. So this is what it's looking like. It is looking really, really pretty, and I am happy with it, other than obviously the areas where it's looking dry. So it's now 9:15 in the morning, so I'm going to have this foundation on for the entire day, and I'll come back in a few hours and give you a little update and show you what it looks like in natural lighting. So it's now 3:30, so I've had this foundation on now for 6 hours today, and I'm just going to do a quick little update just so you can see what it looks like in natural lighting. So as you can see, it's come off on my chin. It's also a little bit windy, so I do apologise about the sound if you hear a lot of windiness coming around. So as you can see, I do have it come off on my chin, on my nose as well. I have been wearing a face mask today, so on my nose it's come off, and then also it's still looking pretty cakey between my eyebrows, but everywhere else it looks all right. It is looking a little bit more shiny on my forehead today, but I don't know if that's just because of the new moisturiser. So I won't be wearing this foundation when I use that moisturiser anymore, because I don't feel like it's good for dry skin, especially around here. However, it's not looking as dry around here as it did yesterday, so I feel like the foundation and the moisturiser are both working pretty well, so I am quite impressed with that. However, today it's not staying on my skin as well as it did yesterday. Yesterday was actually really, really good, and it managed to stay on my skin a lot longer than it has today. Again, not sure if it's because I was wearing a face mask, but this is what it's looking like, and I'll come back at the end of the day and I'll give you a final review and let you know how it's gone for the last 2 days. Hi guys, so I'm back, and it's now actually February, so it's been about 2 or 3 months since I did my first impression on the foundation. And the reason why I'm coming back so late is because I really wanted to put this to the test and see how it goes, and see if it actually does make a difference for my skin, because it does have all these skincare benefits in there, and basically just let you know how it goes after me using it for quite a long time. So I did start using this for every single day say for the first 2 weeks that I started my first impression. So I really felt like I wanted to give it a go, different ways that I could use it as well, how it looked on the skin after the full day, how it looked after a couple of hours. It does remind me of the Flower Beauty foundation that I did a first impression on, which I'll link down below or somewhere in this video so you can check it out. But it does really remind me of that. The only difference is this one, there's so many skincare benefits in here, but I don't believe there's any with the Flower Beauty one. So as you can see, I have used this quite a lot. I've used a third of the foundation and I really did put it to a test. So you can see there is a lot that's come out of here, because when I first did my first impression, it was all the way down there and now it's all the way up here. So I used a lot of this foundation. So when I did my first impression, you can see that it didn't want to build up. It's one of those products that I think because it is so hydrating and so wet on the skin, if you try and build it up, it goes very cakey. And that's what I noticed when I tried to build it up on the first time that I used it. It didn't want to work. And this is something with this foundation, you can't really build it up. You can only really get one layer out of it because it does tend to do exactly the same. I've tried this with a brush, I've also tried it with a sponge, and no matter how much foundation or how little foundation I use, it just doesn't want to build up. So the good thing for me is that I do like natural looking foundations. I like light medium foundations, and this one looks so beautiful on the skin, looked very, very natural. What I would say is the shade is a little bit too neutral for a sand shade. So this one is the light medium sand, and I'll use that in every single Tarte foundation. These shades actually run pretty dark. This one's light medium, and to me it goes too dark on my skin on some days. I have to have a fresh self-tan, and my self-tan has to be the darkest it will be for this to actually work for me and not look too dark on the skin. So that's something I would say. I wish that I hadn't got the medium golden, because I feel like it's going to be way too dark for me. But you know, if I do end up having a deeper self-tan to what I usually have, then I could just mix the two, or I could use that one. So also I really like the pump on this. I like the packaging because you go like that. Yeah, it comes up, comes down, super easy packaging, absolutely love it. I genuinely feel like I have a really good idea on this. So when I did my first impression, I wore it for the whole day. I think it was either 8 or 10 hours. My skin was so oily and greasy at the end of the day. It looked horrible, really, really bad on my skin. I would have had to powder, I would have had to put a different product on, because this is not a product that's going to be long lasting for you if you have oily skin. I have very, very oily skin, and this lasted, I'd probably say it lasts about 5-6 hours on the skin, and then I feel like that I can't really wear the foundation anymore because it is just too greasy. So I can get a good 5-6 hours out of it. So this is one of those products where if you wear it for running errands, if you are going out to dinner and you just want to apply a little bit of foundation on just for the evening, then this is probably a good foundation for you to try. Now if you do have normal skin, I feel like you might like it, but again, I do feel like it might be a little bit too hydrating for you. Now I have noticed that with this foundation as well, I really like it on days when my skin is feeling very hydrated, because I tend to go for mattifying foundations. If anything says it's hydrating, I don't go for it. I despise hydrating foundations for my skin, because my skin just doesn't react very well to them all. It absolutely hates them, and I end up looking like an oil slick. So to be honest, at the end of the day, I look like an oil slick when I was wearing this foundation. And I did tend to get quite a bit of it that would come off on my skin as well. It's the usual places, so around the sides of my nose and the sides of my face, that's where it really came off, and then also my forehead. My forehead was so greasy and so oily. It works the best with a sponge. If you use a brush, it can get quite streaky, but I know that some people do like brushes when they use foundations. It's very, very thick for a foundation that's like a light medium coverage, but I think that's probably why I prefer using a sponge for it, because it is pretty thick. It does blend out pretty nicely, but again, you cannot build this foundation up. It's one of those where you can use one layer, leave it alone. Do not do anything else with it, because it's not going to look good on your skin if you build it up. It tends to look cakey. It does cling to dry patches, so bear that in mind. If you do have dry patches, this is going to cling to it. Again, it's just so hydrating on the skin as well. So that's something that I find really weird, that it clings to the dry patches, but then it's really hydrating on the skin. So I did notice as well, I didn't get a rash from this. It felt very, very lightweight on the skin. It really feels like you're not wearing anything on the skin, which I do really like, because I hate when you have a foundation, it feels so heavy. So you do need to use a pore filling primer. You need to prime like you usually do. You need to set it with powder, especially if you have oily skin. but it does look very nice and glowy on the skin. It looks very natural, and your skin looks very healthy when you're wearing it as well. Well, my skin looked very healthy when I was wearing it. I feel like this foundation has been breaking me out. So like I said, for 2 weeks, every single day I was using the foundation, and I noticed that my skin was really breaking out along my jawline. Some people could turn around and say, well, we are wearing face masks, but this one, it was making me break out a little bit more than usual, and then also on my forehead I was breaking out a lot as well. So I feel like that there is something in this foundation that my skin doesn't like. I don't really know what it is, but there tends to be hyaluronic acid tends to break my skin out, and I don't know if there's another product in here that's breaking out, but for some reason my skin just doesn't like it. So I can wear this foundation for a couple of days and my skin will be fine, but if I wear it any more than that, then it just will not. It won't play well. It will just make my skin feel really horrible, and also it feels a lot oilier if I've been wearing this for more than a few days. And again, I think that's because it is a hydrating foundation. So finally, the thing that you guys really want to know is would I recommend it and would I repurchase it? So it's one of those where I feel like they all just depends on what you use foundation for, how often you wear makeup, what your skin type is like, because for some people it will work and then other people it won't. So if you have normal skin, I feel like you would enjoy this. If you have dry skin, it's probably going to be a godsend for you because of the amount of hydration that you get in here. If you do have oily skin, you are not going to be able to wear this for the entire day. I actually can't build this up as well. If I need to put extra foundation on after a few hours, I can blot, I can powder, but if I powder, I will tend to go quite cakey, and then if I try and put more product on, again, that will go cakey and it won't blend together. I as well would not recommend it for anyone that has acne prone skin, because there is an ingredient in this that did break me out. It's really sad because I did like how this felt on my skin. If I was using it for a few hours, I felt like that my skin was looking really nice and it felt very nice and hydrating. But again, I can't really use a foundation that is going to break me out. I do continue to use this every now and again, but it's not a go-to of mine. I don't reach for this over my other foundations. I'm still kind of debating whether I'm going to use this up or if I'm just going to give this to someone else, because this actually only has an expiry date of 6 months. So this can't even be open for the entirety of a CC cream or a normal foundation, which are 12 and 18 months. So you have half a year to use this up, and I think I have 3 months left. And that's the thing that's worrying me, because I don't think I'm going to use this up in 3 months, because like I said, I don't wear makeup every single day. I think if you have a warm undertone, you'd probably get away with golden. So if you do self-tan, like I do, I have a warm undertone. But as you can see, my foundation currently matches my neck, because this is a different foundation. I'm not actually wearing it because this doesn't even look good on camera. So that's another thing. It doesn't really look that good on camera either, but in person it looks very nice. I also got this for, I think it was it £15? I think I got this for £15 as well, because I had this massive sale on in the middle of the year. They always have sales going on. So I'd say try it out if you want to, but I wouldn't say to spend £33 on it, because I feel like it's nice, but it's not that nice for the price. But if you can get it for half price, or if you can get money off it, then go ahead and try it out. So I have just rambled on for quite a long time, and I'm so sorry, but I really just need to let you guys know everything about this foundation. So to conclude, I like it. I don't love it. It's not the worst. It's not the best. I prefer other foundations. I don't tend to go for this foundation. I might use it up, but I'm not sure. And I don't think I'd recommend it at all if you have oily skin. But again, you just have to sort of weigh up what you like to use foundations for and how long you use them for. So this is my first impression and my review on the Tarte Foundcealer foundation. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you've tried out this foundation, and if you like it, if you don't, just comment down below to let me know. And make sure to give this video a very big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye!